Hello and welcome or welcome back. My name is Reb and I just wrapped up day 50 of the 100-day challenge. If you're new here, let me just give you a quick rundown of what's going on. I decided this year that I would do the 100-day challenge. I found this little sketchbook in my storage unit and it had just the right amount of pages to do the challenge. For the project, I chose to draw 100 objects out of my cabinet of curiosity. And today we'll be looking at drawings 41 through 50. Let's take a look inside. Picking up right where we left off, this is drawing number 41. This is a little pewter figurine. It's a little silly possum that has clearly been run over and somehow is still smiling about it. I did this one in gouache, and I'm glad I picked gouache because the pewter had kind of a matte finish, and I think that the gouache kind of replicated that, but I was still able to get like a lot of detail and dimension with it. Day 42 was a tiny ceramic owl figurine, very small. It didn't have much detail, so this drawing is a little bit kind of softer, quieter, but I think that it really kind of fit the mood of the owl. Day 43 is this heart cockle. At least that's what I think it's called. From what I gathered, that's where the saying, warm the cockles of your heart came from, which is so weird, but the more you know, I guess. So this one was kind of a challenge because it was overall kind of all the same color. I felt like I really needed to play up the shadows to get the dimension that I wanted, but overall I think it turned out really well. Continuing on with our little sea theme here, this is a tuxedo urchin. This one was really fun to draw. I love the colors. These are some of my favorite colors. The only regret that I had is that the Neo color really couldn't get the very fine details that this thing had. It had like a kind of bumpy texture on this like orangey part, and then this like scaly kind of pattern on the green part. And I put a little bit of highlights just to kind of hint at the pattern, just so that it was kind of mentioned, so to speak. I didn't want to make this too much of a scientific drawing or anything like that, but I thought that it was worth noting that it had that cool texture. The other thing that I wish that I could have somehow included in this, and maybe it's a future project, but the inside of this thing, if you looked in this little hole, it was so cool. It was like some sort of portal. I don't know. I'll put a little video so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, moving on to day 45. Day 45 was this little ceramic rocking horse figurine. It was very small and actually kind of hard to draw. I think it would have been easier if I had gone a little bit bigger, but because of the dimension of it and the fact that it had to be oriented the right way, I drew it this way, and I think it turned out fine. I'm not complaining, but it was so cute, and I really wish I could have gotten a little bit more space to work. Day 46 was this little mineral here. This is called gyrolite, and this one was kind of tough to draw. The little crystals were these little spheres, and they were a really pretty kind of olive green translucent color, which is pretty hard to capture, but it was very fun to draw. It was like drawing a bunch of little tiny bubbles. Very interesting little mineral there. After that was this, I think this is quartz. I don't know much about this one, but it definitely had a kind of a soft matte sheen to it. Maybe there's some mineral kind of deposited on it. It was kind of rusty colored almost. Not like rose quartz. It was more like on the outside of it, but it was really fun to draw, and again, a color that I really love, so very, very fun. After that was day 48. Yeah, day 48 was this little bottle. This is a glass bottle. It had kind of matte finish to it, I think because of where I found it. I found it on this like small island that we paddled to, and it just had a lot of like weird glass stuff. But I digress. This little bottle was really fun to draw. I think it's like a hand blown kind of bottle. It has a seam. I'm not sure exactly how it's made, or there's not like a lot of information on it as far as markings go, other than it's made in Taiwan. But because it's like, I guess, hand blown, it had bubbles in it, and I thought that the bubbles were really cool to draw. After that, this little piece of crystal. What this originated from, I don't know. It was found on the same island as this one here. It was just like a fragment of maybe a fixture or a plate or something like that. It's slightly rounded, but not so much that it's like a cup or something like that. But this one was really fun to draw. This one, you know, it has kind of an organic shape to it on the outside, but then there's like, you know, obviously the structure of the crystal. So a little bit of a juxtaposition of like drawing styles. And the funnest part was kind of experimenting with like what was behind it, because depending on what you put behind it, the facets of the crystal would change. So I had a lot of fun picking different objects to put behind it, and settled with my sketchbook, which is where that kind of light blue color came from. And then the last drawing of this 10 days, drawing number 50, halfway point, is this beautiful banded agate. This is one of my favorite things in my collection, so I was so happy to draw this one for the 50th drawing. The amount of detail in this rock, I mean, I'll show you, is insane. Obviously, I couldn't capture all of it, but I did spend a little extra time drawing it because, I mean, how could I not? Look at this. I also really love this one because it looks like it has like a little grumpy frog face. I thought it was so funny. So I made sure to kind of capture that angle of it. And yeah, this one was done in Neo colors, and I'm glad that I did it in Neo colors because there was such a soft kind of color shift to the rock. So luckily I had all the colors that I needed for that. So yeah, that is the drawings 41 through 50. And I truly appreciate all of you coming along on this journey so far. I've had such a great time drawing all these different weird objects out of my collection. It really has become like this fun fixture of my day. And I hope that you guys are enjoying this. If you are, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already. And if you love a beautiful banded agate, leave me a little like. If you'd like to further support me, I also have a Ko-fi page where I sell stickers and prints and all kinds of stuff. So check that out. I will put a link to it in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. And if you are doing the 100-day project, I hope that you're having as good a time as I am with it. I will catch you guys on the next 10 drawings. Bye.